Hi everyone, I'm Harry, and today we're checking out Bricky's every single Warhammer Space Marine Legion in a nutshell. Now, I happen to know a bit about this, unlike most of the videos I watch. I'm not going into this blind. I know quite a bit here, and I have been looking into this way too much for any sane person to ever consider a reasonable amount, and that's on me. So I'm going to use my delusions, obsession, my hobby to see what I can say about this without going overboard on why the Salamanders are the best Legion, because, let's be honest, there are, and he won't make the mistake of saying anything else. Joking aside, you guys know the deal. There's a link below to his video. I'm actually really curious to see what his take on the Legion is, and I want to find out. So let's check it out. Again, link, hit it up. Let's do that. Let's get started.
To the people on the internet,
that's
the
me.
time has come. The reckoning begins.
Is he making a ad drop right in the beginning? Considering what his cups look like, that's actually not a bad idea.
Your boy
Called it!
Got himself a shaker cup. I'm gonna take one more sip for the camera, slow it down, throw some sexy music in there, and I'll see you guys soon.
Future me, make sure to cut this out. This is, I think this might be too spicy for YouTube. God damn it, Bricky.
Hello, everybody. My name is
There's probably someone who specifically recorded that segment for their own personal usage. You know, I was going to make a joke here, then I realized halfway into it that no, that's probably legitimately a thing, and I should probably shut up because I don't just... There are things I'm better off not thinking, and that was definitely one of them.
Berkey, currently stuck in the walls of the most prodigious school in the Imperium by punishment for falling asleep during class.
My
God bless the Skull of Progenium. Many of you have come across my Every Faction Explained video. Firstly, thank you. Secondly, we are here to dig a little deeper. Space Marines are the quintessential poster boys of Warhammer 40,000. When people
Okay, I know this is from Astartes, but I'm pretty sure this is from the pre-releases for either the new edition or Space Marine 2, which I've heard is eventually going to come out sometime during my lifetime.
When people think 40K, they think Space Marines, but
yeah,
there are many types of Space Marines formed from 20 separate legions.
Some are good, some are traitors.
Rattle them off in order and give you a quick rundown of each.
Starting with the Dark Angels.
A disclaimer, like in my Every Faction Explained video, this is a mix of accuracy and memes. If I say
there's a good time where the memes are also accurate, so it kind of works out.
The Salamander's Legion specializes in hugging children and petting puppies. They aren't exactly doing that.
I mean, technically, by comparison to everyone else, that is completely accurate. That's not even a meme. By comparison to every other Legion, well, at least when it was Legions, yeah, they would actually specialize in that. Not because they were doing it the best, but because literally no one else would consider it. Even the nice ones wouldn't. I mean, this is a franchise where the Space Wolves, you know, the Space Werewolf Legion, because that's really what they are. Sorry, Space Viking Werewolves are actually one of the most personable units. Yeah. The more you look into it, the more you realize that is the level we're at. The crazy berserking Space Viking Werewolves technically count as nice, if only by comparison.
Mostly.
Oh, best scene! Do not boop the suicide bomber. Ah, you missed the best part. If you haven't seen the clip he just referenced, it's from Bro Trip from Alpha Busa before the series was canceled and everyone died, because that's where they left it. It's very depressing. But that part alone was probably one of the absolute most amazing things, just having fun with the fact that Vulcan's immortal, and it was awesome! I'm hurting myself by reminding myself of the entire franchise that's now completely dead. On the upside, Hunter the Parenting's around. If you get the reference, you understand the pain. If you don't, look into Hunter the Parenting and If the Emperor Had a Text-to-Speech Device. It's great until the very last episode, where it's also great and then just sad and stays that way.
They care about civilians and are a bit kinder than the average Space Marine.
The average Space Marine would accidentally kill a normal mortal and not even notice, where the nice ones sometimes might feel bad about it. The mean ones have a little more fun. That is the dividing line there. That is the dividing line. Not that it's, oh, we're being great humanitarians. It's, we're going to treat you like you actually are a human being with a soul. As opposed to everyone else, it's like, oh God, you're in the way. Get out of the way, cannon fodder. For the nice ones. Yeah.
Space Marine being a genetically modified super soldier that's had 1,000,000 new and terrifying organs shoved into them, refrigerators strapped to their bodies, and are so far above the average human that they are referred to as demigods instead. Each Space Marine has a father, unlike you, a Primarch.
They came back with milk.
Even bigger Space Marine. That was...
It's actually funny because... When did he do this one? Oh, it was a year ago? Okay, yeah, so the joke about the Space Marine Primarchs are coming back with milk. When they eventually release every single Primarch in some variation in 40K, there has to be someone with a mod where every single hand is replaced by a jug of milk in it. Like, they're not holding a weapon, they're holding a jug of milk. So they finally came back from the store to get milk. That has to be a joke. Every single Primarch model needs it. Also, I'm implying that we're going to get every single Primarch model. I know what I'm saying. I fully believe it. Mostly because there's been comments every now and again about how anyone could get better or anyone could come back, anyone could return. There's going to be returning bits here and there. But mostly I believe this because money. That's the reason. Don't think it'll be fast, but I think they'll do it. If Games Workshop wants to make money, they'll release a Primarch. Does it have to be good? Well, according to the line returning, no. It'll still sell. You cannot get that goddamn model. It sells out immediately. It's not even a good model. I mean, like in terms of looks, amazing. In terms of ever being used, no. They really screwed that guy over. But you still want to buy it.
Forged in a lab by the God Emperor
Speaking of line, that should be the first Legion.
That gigantic golden dude you see everywhere, who is both the leader and now the martyr of humanity.
Maybe. Not that he's not the martyr, he very much is. Whether willingly or not is also debatable, depending on how much is actually his choice. The Horus Heresy novels are showing that it is more likely, but that just holds up until someone else decides to write it a different way. Whether or not he actually looks like that is up for debate, just because everyone sees him differently. And why is Fulgrim so yellow? That's weird.
Primarchs are his 20 sons, built in a lab, who lead 20 legions of Space Marines, who are their sons. Not from a lab, but rather a dissection table, giving them the powers and skills of their associated Primarch via
just like every other normal birth.
Seed, a special organ carrying the genetic makeup of their Primarch.
I just watched Space Kings. That sounds much different in context.
And, you know, their seed. So if Jagatai Khan of the White Scars has the genetic makeup that wants him to go really, really fast, then his sons, the Space Marines, also want to go really, really fast. I should note that I am only referring to the legions this time around. If you're interested in sub-factions like, let's say, the Black Templars, then it's not going to be here. However, I do have a excellent Black Templar video. I'd argue it's probably the...
Wait, he did a Black Templar video? Oh, it's not linked immediately. Damn it. If anyone knows where I can find that, I'm actually really curious what his take on the Black Templars are, just because I haven't heard it and I kind of like his opinion.
Most accurate one I can think of. It goes through the whole lore, everything about them. It's a very long video, and I'll put it in the description. Just look up Black Templar video in the description.
Note to self, check that out and don't forget.
And now, with the easy explanation out of the way,
you do that for
let us
other
begin
chapters?
with our first legion.
I'm sorry, that's the music he chose for the Dark Angels?
Out of the way, let us begin with
our first God.
Legion.
It's like one step under Benny Hill. Oh yeah, because it's Arthurian. They're very much the knights, so he went for freaking Monty Python, which, admittedly, for Rogue Trader level Dark Angels is probably the exact tone they were going for.
Dark Angels. Allegiance? Loyal.
To who? This is funnier because the new lore makes it even more confusing, because I still don't know if they're loyal or not. And the new lore is not helping. Yeah, the Lion came back since this came out. Actually, this is a year ago. The Lion would have already been back. But the lore about him exclusively bringing the Fallen, spoilers, to work with him, calling them the Redeemed or something, and also being absolutely dismissive of the Imperium because, I don't fuck with that shit. They listen or they get out of the way. Loyal, he might not be wrong. I'm not even sure this is a meme anymore.
Primarch Lion L. Johnson.
He got old and somehow looks cooler.
A real asshole, I'm not gonna lie. The single word descriptor, paranoid. The Dark
Yes. If there was a single word descriptor for a Primarch that was asshole, that would go to the... I don't actually remember what Legion the Steel Hands were. Or the Iron Hands. Because their Primarch was notably the least sociable. In terms of D&D, he had a negative score for charisma.
Angels are our first legion, hailing from the death world known as Caliban. Their Primarch, Lion L. Johnson, is what happens when you try to make the side profile Chad meme into a genuine character.
Holy shit, he's right! I know he's making a meme right now, but that's kind of exactly the case. Huh. Also, did anyone else notice this guy has like a goat's eye? That's weird.
He is a master tier duelist, a brilliant strategist, and an overall dick. There are few situations he isn't prepared for, and few fights he isn't ready to lead.
As long as they don't involve social interaction. In which case, you should not let him want to do that. There's a reason why Sanguinius was the Emperor, technically, for a small bit of time in a part of the lore that they're trying to make important, but really doesn't actually matter.
This makes the Dark Angels have a very Knights of the Round Table vibe. They look like the Knights of old with these large suits of power armor.
And when they do the armor right, it looks great.
Their names also follow this. They have like Ezekiel, Azrael, Belial, Samuel,
Lucifer,
and so on. However, the common thing associated with Dark Angels are the Fallen, a part of their faction that turned traitor against the Imperium, and they are very heavily trying to expunge all knowledge of them from existence.
And that's even funnier, again, because new lore that came out after this. Are they? Some of them still think they are. How much the Primarch cares? Debatable.
Fallen?
Sometimes it's a recruitment.
I've never heard of any Fallen. Do you know about the Fallen? We're going to take you away and mind probe you to make sure you have never heard of the Fallen. They definitely don't exist. And if they do exist, which they don't, we will find them even though they don't exist. They love their interrogations. They thrive in it.
Taking away an
Lionel
Ultramarine.
Johnson is a scorched earth policy sometimes, and it's given to his sons in force, which makes sense.
Considering some of the things he has access to are from the Dark Angel technology, scorched earth might not be a metaphor. Considering Caliban blew up, that might actually be considered friendly fire adjacent or standard Helldivers policy, I've been told.
Considering that when the Lion heard of a Chaos Primarch on a homeworld different Primarch whose mom was there, he was like, let's nuke it. The Dark Angels are a special group where they formulate themselves into three different factions. The Deathwing Terminators, slow-moving, tough phalanx. The Raven Wing, fast jet bikes and flyers. And the Green Wing, which is your standard Marines. They are a jack of all trades, but not in the sense where they're good at everything, but rather they have a lot of things that are good at specific things. Like instead of 20 people that have a multi-tool, they instead have 20 people with gigantic power tools for every job imaginable. If you like being...
Wait. Is Bricky implying that's not the normal way to approach it? Oh, that feels weird. I come from a gearhead family. The idea of not having power tools is weird. I don't know how to use any of them, but even I have them. If I try and use them, you will never see me again because I will probably have accidentally amputated something. And I already got the finger reattached. I would like to keep it on this time. So yeah, maybe I should actually look into the not having power tools option. That might be safer.
Suspicious about everyone and everything in your surroundings, but you also like to have a whole lot of deep knight type lore. Run the Dark Angels.
They look cool but stupid.
The One Piece is real.
Our second legion.
The fuck was that? I mean, yeah, of course it's a One Piece reference, but who recorded that? It's like, that's some obvious meme thing, and why do I feel like I've heard that voice before? That's going to bug me. It's going to legitimately bug me.
It's a special one.
If you can see,
What was that last one? Oh, yeah, I know this one. This is from another animation where they were doing the old school absolute horror and brutality of 40K, as opposed to the even older school absolute joking ridiculousness of 40K, including dance number posters selling the models with Ultramarines doing the tango and the cha-cha in the background. Yeah, I thought that was a joke until I looked up and saw that no, that was real.
If you can see, the numbers all go to 11.
The Emperor's Children.
What is that from?
Allegiance, traitor. Primarch, Fulgrim, a perfectionist.
Debatable? This is technically everything I want to say is a spoiler. What Bricky says isn't wrong, but it's also a case of where one of the writers decided to put a plot point in that I don't think the rest of Games Workshop realized they were okaying until it was out, and then they had to change it. Because depending on if you read a certain side story or not, Fulgrim may or may not have gone traitor. Ish. Yeah, and if that sounds weird, that's because this is part of the Horus Heresy novels that is very contentious with some people. Basically, in his novel where he goes traitor, he picks up a blade, it possesses him, his soul gets shoved into a mirror, and his body is meat puppeted. And it's finally completed when he is forced to take off his brother's head, and then there's all the stuff on, just all the heresy, basically. But then they retcon that to say, no, his soul got out, he just took it off screen, he became, and he's himself, and there's no actual demon possessing him. He's not actually technically still not a corrupted Primarch. He's still evil. We don't randomly have his soul separated, never corrupted, and just screaming a torch for 10,000 years. That's not the case. It could be longer because it's the warp. That is also, it's weird because we have a novel saying one thing, a short side story completely contradicting it, following immediately on its heels, and then it's kind of just brushed under the rug. I was going to say the rug. Why am I saying rug? It's not even a thing. Rug. There we go. So, for all intents and purposes, everything Bricky said is exactly how Games Workshop is playing it, because I personally think they had a plot point there that sounded really good. They thought secondary of it and undid it. And even though it'd be really cool to see he's actually not evil yet, and it's just some monster puppeting his body, they don't seem to want to go that way. I don't get it. I think it would be a cool plot point to see Fulgrim basically having to come back and fight the demon possessing his body in a new clone body. I mean, it would be a really cool plot point. They would just have to have an uncorrupted clone body of his that he could put his soul into if they could get it. And they don't only have one of those in Trajan's collection because it's explicitly put there in the lore. I mean, that would be way too contrived and actually happened. Yeah. I have opinions on this, and all of them are, I wish they would do something with it rather than just kind of sweeping it under the rug. Yeah. Also, painting purple is really cool because when they get good paint, it's actually really fun to do this kind of paint job.
An artist, a sneaky snaky snake, and the
Yeah.
single
Oh, he actually brought that image up. Specifically, the one in the background is the very first Fulgrim model from when they did Epic. Basically, it's Apocalypse game or Apocalypse size with massive amounts of points and Titans on the field. And it was really old. It looked pretty bad. They discontinued it really early, but you can still find the models around everywhere because they're there. This is what Fulgrim looked like. Yeah. Yeah. Still better than Magnus's model.
And the single word descriptor, perfection. The Emperor's Children are all about the pursuit of perfection. Perfection in all they do. Perfection in war, in artistry, and perfection in every other aspect of life. Their armor is a gleaming pink, purple, and gold. Their ships have spires of gorgeous marble and gold statues in their honor. Fulgrim is a man who...
You know, coming from 40K, it's like, oh, so it's a standard cathedral ship. But then it's like, oh, no, wait, this is 30K where they didn't do that yet. So it would stand out more.
Who believes
actually, I had to remember that.
Of perfection is the goal of all things. And I mean, look at him. Can you truly tell me that he is not perfect? The hair, the features. As Primarchs go, he is the one you look at. And if 40K had a guy that would give you the best sex you've ever had and never call you back, this is the fucking guy.
Ironically enough, he's also the person who would never lose his virginity because he can never lose. Because it'd be imperfect to lose. As much of a joke as that is, I could see that being the case. If only because GW would never let the alternative happen publicly, because that would be way more Slaanesh than they've been comfortable doing outside of fantasy or AOS. They're fine with doing some really fucked up shit there.
which is why this pursuit of decadence led them to the evils of chaos.
Yeah.
Yes, Emperor's Children are our first Chaos Legion, and not just a normal one devoted to, you guessed it, Slaanesh,
We
prince
can't
of
show it,
pleasure, god
demon.
of unspeakable excess. The Emperor's Children in their pursuit are now horrifyingly mutated beings through Slaanesh's great will. They torture and maim to feel perfection through pain. They screech and attack with sonic weaponry.
They're basically
for
just
perfection
human
through
Dark Eldar.
sound, and they slaughter, aiming for perfection in war. Fulgrim himself lost the battle against.
Oh, that's what his 30K model looks like? Oh, that is, wow. I've heard some of the 30K models were hit and miss, and this is, wow.
Against Slaanesh as a demon sword corrupted his mind and transformed him into the sexy man he was, into the sexy snake he is now. A demon Primarch, corrupted and bringing his legion's will by himself. As far as Emperor's Children go, they are some...
They drew a GIMP mask for the helmet. Admittedly, they even have bondage gear on the freaking power pack. Admittedly, this is probably something that they should do if they ever really got around to going full in on the Emperor's Children. They won't, because 40K has become the safe for work option somehow. While AOS is the one where they will put out all of the, oh god, why are you doing this? Levels of just grotesquity every now and again.
Bad people. They do horrible things to anyone and everything. In fact, they're such trolls that their battle cry is for the Emperor, despite being horribly mutated and corrupted. If you've ever taken
That's why they keep the name Emperor's Children
of a drug, or maybe the music at a concert was too loud,
I'm surprised he went for Flintstones as opposed to NyQuil. That would be way more thematically appropriate.
and you didn't bring any earplugs, or whatever the reason, you just take all those things and you
11
dial
ain't
it,
far enough.
and you dial it, and you twist it, and the knob breaks. And that is the Emperor's Children.
God is dead.
Oh, we got the Iron Warriors now. Oh, they're the 4th Legion, yeah.
God remains dead, and we have killed him.
The Iron War.
I know they're quoting Nietzsche there, but I have no idea who's saying that one. Oh, also Iron Warriors. Again, this came out a year ago, and technically nothing has changed since then. There's been hints for over the last year of how there's going to be an Iron Warriors potentially being released. Still not happening. Even though the lore is kind of leading into them coming up, maybe a Dark Mechanic, still not happening. Kind of annoyed about that.
Warriors. Allegiance, traitor. Primarch, Perturabo, a warlord.
Perturabo?
A
Oh, I've been
siege
saying it
smith,
wrong.
An incel. Single word descriptor.
Accurate.
Siege. Continuing the
You know, he's being a lot nicer. I think he had the previous word completely accurate. Incel. This is basically Perturabo's entire personality. Him traitor and him loyal. Honestly, he probably is a little more grotesque, but it's really not doing that much difference. He's probably the least changed out of all the Primarchs. I know what I said. Yeah. Also, the lore has that he may or may not have turned himself into essentially a dreadnought the size of a Titan. If that's accurate, oh, that would be so freaking awesome. Can you imagine if the Primarch model was actually a freaking Titan? That'd be so cool. No one could ever buy it because you just wouldn't ever. But it would be cool, man. Oh.
trend of our Chaos Legions, we have the Iron Warriors led by Primarch Perturabo of Olympia. To understand the Iron Warriors, though...
See, now this is completely inaccurate. This makes him look like an actual human being. He never smiled.
Must first understand Perturabo. A man so bitter coffee beans run for light. A man who hates the world and everyone in it. Who never got recognition for his deeds. Who hates his brothers and hates their accomplishments even more. Someone so laughably petty, so incredibly bitter that he goes full circle to becoming likable. Why? Because he's competent. The Horus Heresy. We didn't talk about the Horus Heresy.
Oh, yeah. Competent is... he's not wrong. I just debatable. His tactics are competent. They're also incredibly predictable of, I'm going to throw bodies at the problem until it stops being a problem. But when he breaks away from that, it's usually actually being portrayed by most writers as being effective. It's just most writers take the cop out with him and don't do that.
Intermission.
God, is he actually going to do a bit of the
Horus
horse
was the
heresy?
emperor's favorite son, right? You know, so the emperor walked into his room. Horus said, Dad, I just gifted 150 subs to Amaranth, and she said my name a ton, and she loved me for it. I really think that I might get to meet her one day. And it kind of played out something like this.
Your feelings for her are not real. They are real to me!
And then
Where the hell is that from? I don't actually know that one. I feel like I should, though. It's going to bug me.
it started playing out a little bit more like this.
Let the seas boil. Let the stars fall.
Yeah.
So it takes the last drop of my blood.
Yeah. So Iron Warriors, the Horus Heresy wouldn't have gone.
He just really went all the way to that, going all the way to Titans and destroying everything, and just immediately going back to the Iron Warriors.
Shit done without Peter Turbo. Imagine an entire faction that is the personification of brutal industrialism, where you serve the Legion until your dying breath. You build and you kill and you siege and you kill and you literally summon demons just to take them and trap them in machines and use them as cannon fodder. This
I paused on the wrong image. But more importantly, yeah, everything he said is great. And this is why I really got annoyed earlier that they don't actually have their own release, because they have so many cool things that if they had really good plastic models would be amazing. I wouldn't play them because I'm still more like on the loyalist side. And at this point, I have so many models that look like generic Space Marines. I don't really want more that just look slightly more spiky. But I would love to play against this because it would be so very different. Also, because it would be a bunch of demon engines and people who are more or less cyborgs, or, full-on cyborgs, almost as hideous as the Mechanicus, but just more armor.
is a thing they do. They summon demons to trap and use as shock troops. The Iron Warriors are siege warfare incarnate. They are heavy weapons. They are tanks. They are turrets, and they don't die. They hate Imperials. They hate Imperial fists.
Do you need a pacifier, Iron Baby?
I don't think I ever saw this one.
No, I don't.
They are bitter incarnate. Perturabo and the Iron Warriors don't.
I mean, considering everything he mentioned is true, but it's also part of the lore they hate Chaos as well. They hate the other Primarchs. They hate the traitor Primarchs. And like I said, very little has changed for Perturabo since then. He has not changed his tactics. He has not changed his hatred or opinions of anyone before or after going traitor. If anything, it's probably more freeing that he's just allowed to kill them more easily, and that's really the biggest change. No, actually, knowing there are demons to summon is probably the bigger change. More easy meat.
Serve the Chaos Gods because they like them. They serve them because fuck you.
Come on, guys. Let's go.
Not another speeding ticket. I'll fight it in court, but I don't think they're gonna accept gotta go fast as a medical condition.
The
What?
White Scars.
That's Sonic?
Allegiance, Loyalist. Primarch, Jagatai Khan. A speed demon, a plain strider, a roast god. Single word descriptor,
Was that guy shouting, what are those?
speed demon, a plain strider, a roast god. Single word
Yeah, he was shouting, what are those? I'm falling short on my meme knowledge on this one. If anyone knows, let me know. I have no idea.
descriptor,
Speed.
speed.
Called it.
Hailing from Chagoris. The White Scars are all about speed. They love melee,
Genghis
but
Khan,
they
but
love it even
actually
more
less
when
murdery.
They are doing it from a motorcycle or land speeder, or
Primaris.
honestly, just running really damn fast. The White
Yeah,
Scars
honestly,
are
that'd be a
honestly
nice move.
forgotten about a lot, and that's lore.
Lore-wise, because nobody can paint white. It's like they should have chosen a different name for a different color scheme, because for the longest time, their white paint is... Don't. There are ways to do it, but just... You don't do that unless you are significantly good at painting. Hell, I've only started being able to paint some white models recently. And painting is still a stretch to say that, but it's doable. But you got to do a lot of other shading and mixing and blending and layers to make it look right. And even then, it's not usually just white. Unlike a lot of models, you can't just slap down the color and be done. You got to do a lot of work to make it look not horrible.
More accurate. They are a legion that doesn't seek the recognition or glory from the combat they engage
Also, their
in.
Primarch
They
is
engage
competent.
in it because it is their duty and because they love it. Not in the insane slaughter enjoyment of loving.
Oh, he had to bring up Lucius the Eternal. Oh, that guy freaks me out so much. Ugh. Like, out of all of them, he's one of the most. Just...
But in the thrill of the fight, they are known as the Laughing Killers because they ride into battle with a smile on their face and a chuckle in their throat. And as you can tell by their Primarch's name, they are Mongolian based. Remove horses and replace them with motorcycles and land spears, and that's your style.
And considering the entire backstory for, well, his planet it was initially horses on that planet, he basically is legitimately Genghis Khan. And the entire killed less people thing, that's actually debatable. I'm not really sure what the population of Chagoris was prior to the Khan taking action, but Jagatai probably might have actually killed less people than the actual Genghis Khan. And he was a much more competent ruler in the sense that he didn't immediately die and leave behind a shattered empire. He got lost in the warp and left behind a relatively cohesive unit. They're actually pretty good about that.
They're heavily based on the old times of Genghis Khan, and consider this is 40k and everybody's evil. You know, that fits. The white scars are actually physical scars on their body, going back to their heritage on Chagoris. The Khan himself is kind of a dickhead, but a reasonable one. He thinks ahead, he's intelligent, he's patient, he
doesn't like the Emperor, but follows him because he swore loyalty and doesn't really fall for a lot of the propaganda, but also still is like, you know what? Yeah, the other option's worse. I think the Emperor mentioned at least one thing, that he was the most concerned about Jagatai going traitor, and then was like, oh, pleasant surprise. But I'm not sure how much of that was me reading into it too much and how much of that was copious levels of fanon. There's not enough on Jagatai. The more you learn about him, the more cool he gets.
often underestimated because he doesn't scream his accomplishments from the rooftops, which is what
I mean, he's going fast enough. Even if he was, you wouldn't hear it until he's already past you.
makes him and the White Scars dangerous. His skills are kept at bay, only to be truly shown when the time is needed. The White Scars are a forgotten legion often, but that doesn't diminish their accomplishments. All it does is surprise those who underestimate them. Speed, awesome Mongolian vibe they got going on, and if you
Okay, can we be honest here? This entire image right here is pain. Because I wish look at that. That is such an amazing helmet design. It's probably the few times you see a top knot and it doesn't look stupid. I wonder if there's a 3D print of that. I mean, I don't play White Scars. I wouldn't get it. But that is amazing.
and if you really like to stab people, that's the White Scars for you. Shameless thirst break.
Space Wolves.
Woof, woof, woof.
Woof, bitch.
The
Oh.
Space Wolf.
Markiplier's dog, or I think it was I Am a Dog. I Am Dog. It's been a while since I've seen that.
Wolves. Allegiance, loyalist. Primarch, Leman Russ. A Viking, a savage, the Undertaker. Single word
Essentially, yeah.
descriptor. Wolf, 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 wolf. There's so many goddamn wolf units.
Also, people have told me flat out that these were people. Yeah, the thing about the wolves, the joke is there's no wolves on Fenris. The joke is also literally space werewolves. That's the joke. It's literally werewolves. Big wolves, space marines who went into wolf. Small wolves, people who went into wolves. That's the joke. It's just a werewolf Vikings. That's it. It's not even a joke. It's literally how it is. Kind of surprised I haven't played more into that. That's actually kind of cool. Other than the wolf, and they really don't touch on it.
Skater, how many units in the Space Wolves Codex have the word wolf in their
If it's
name?
not half, I'll be surprised. Honestly, only 13. Honestly, not as bad as I thought, considering, yeah, I'm actually with him on that one. Now, how many units are in the Codex, though?
The Space Wolves are the 6th Legion and hail from Fenris, a frozen wasteland of a world with their Primarch, Leman Russ. I don't really need to spend a whole lot
Not
of time
Thor.
talking about the Space Wolves because it's very obvious who they are. They are the second most like obvious what their shtick is Legion in the 20 legions besides
Yeah.
the world leaders. When you look at the Space Wolves behind, what do you see? Do you see Vikings in space? You've done it. Congratulations, you have found Vikings in space. But they have
Accurate.
as much in common with a regular Marine as an all-day Viking with like a Roman soldier. You see, as a Space Marine, your
I mean, technically, they have a lot in common with the Vikings and the Romans. Specifically, that they were then used to kill said Romans. I mean, it didn't go nearly as well for the ones in the future as it did for the past, but we'll ignore that.
body is so enhanced that you
Oh, no, wait. I'm confusing the barbarians with the Vikings. They're completely different. Damn it. That's on me.
filter out poison, and so you can't get drunk. The Space Wolves distill a special mead out of a horrible poisonous plant that would kill a normal human so they could get drunk. They have
Wait, was that them eating an orc? Oh, God. They're doing orc Borgars. I'm not even surprised about that one.
drunk. They have fangs in their mouths. They sometimes cannibalize their enemies. Sometimes they eat people because they
I mean, that's
gain
kinda all
knowledge
Space Marine can do
about
that.
them from
That's not just the Space Wolf. That's all Space Marines, though. They just don't usually touch it because, frankly, that's part of the lore that was done for shock value and also is never touched on by most writers because it's just done for shock value.
there and about battle plans. The Space Wolves are savages. They're raiders. They're Vikings. But despite all of this, they are loyal
Werewolves.
to their core. Leman Russ is an egotistical guy who just shouts stories and tales of his accomplishments everywhere they can. But at the same time, he was so damn loyal that instead of gunning down his foes, he hit him with a fucking backbreaker to show his devotion, his devotion to wrestling. If you
Hey, they brought in TTS. Nice.
want Vikings in space, you found it. Play the Vikings in space.
We're going to build the wall. We have no choice. We have no choice. Build that wall. Build that wall. Build that wall.
The Imperial Fists. Allegiance, Loyalist. Primarch,
I was going to say something about how loyalist. They're technically completely loyal, but they're completely loyal to the Emperor, not the Imperium, which is a small little difference. But the big one is they would fuck over people if they got in the way, which is also why they're willing to do certain things that are not allowed, like after the War of the Beast, where they were nearly knocked out, reforming the Legion temporarily. And then having protocols to still reform the Legion, which, you know, would be a crime that would get them branded traitors if they did it again. And they don't want to because they're basically the poster boys of Terra, specifically on Terra. Also, this must be after... Oh, so someone did Future Dorn. That's really cool art. Him with a robot fist and a dragon on it. Our choice, but okay.
Rogel Dorn, a builder, a phalanx, and he needs a hand. Single word descriptor,
Boo.
horrify. The Imperial Fists are led by Primarch Rogel Dorn, their homeworld of Inuit. However, they themselves are actually a fleet-based chapter, with their main source of recruitment coming from an enormous moon-sized ship called the Phalanx. The
Yep.
Fists are a chapter you think of when you think of duty. They
Although, even though they are space-based, they have a massive presence on Terra. So that's, I mean, not the only one, and not the one that for a long time the High Lords called on because of other reasons that I don't actually remember if they ever figured out or not with the Minotaurs. But yeah,
They love to serve. The love to serve and the inability to be moved. Rogel Dorn is an architect, a master builder, and basically a rock in brain and body. A lack
What's he
of
gonna
humor
bring out the
or
version from
ability to
TTS?
lie shows that he is as blunt as the weapons of war he creates. Not the swords he makes, but like blunt, strong weapons. The fists
Hammers.
are the same. Take your archetypical American Marine style look, a buzz cut, a hard sense of duty, and then throw in some power armor and a love for building defenses, and you have the Imperial
walls.
Fists. They are immovable. When you find a spot, they're ready to defend. You can't breach them. Their knowledge of defensive warfare is paramount. Without them, the Horus Heresy would have been so much more effective, but thanks to their insane and immovable tenacity, the Imperium lives today.
oh yeah, because Rogel Dorn is the one who is charged with updating the defenses of Terra and all of the Sol system. So the delaying action until everyone else got there, which forced Horus to do the, you know, stupid, was all because he built up defenses that could stand up to about I think it was a decade of a solar war. I think it's a decade. I could be mistaken about that.
And let's not forget that Iron Warrior and Imperial Fist rivalry. Want to know
Yeah.
why the Iron Warriors are so bitter? These guys are the reason why.
Hey, guys, bring the thing! Where is he going?
What? Oh, it's a cannon. They threw a cannon.
Hey! Hey, that could have killed me! Hey, guys! We missed! Get another!
Dorn and Perturabo are basically two sides of the same coin. One is just a bit more level-headed and got better jobs. If you want to be defensive,
Just a random aside because this section's about to end, so I don't think he'll mention it. He talked about Perturabo as the siege expert and Dorn as the defensive expert. But the most famous story about Dorn versus Perturabo was the Iron Cage, where the defensive experts were sieging the siege experts who were defending. And Perturabo won. Basically, they played each other's roles, and Dorn wasn't as good at being a siege master as Perturabo was at being a defensive builder. Also because Dorn was kind of enraged, and based on things that came out in the Horus Heresy, he was not getting his head on straight. He was pretty mentally fucked up by this point. Yeah.
to be good at everything Space Marines are good at, bolters, heavy weapons, vehicles, you want a classic military fighting force? Start fisting.
I am having a very bad day. Today is one
feel
of
like
the
I've heard
worst
this one.
days.
Oh boy. Oh boy, here we go. The
Visible excitement. Yeah, the Night Haunter. Still waiting for the reveal that he's alive, just because it would fuck him over the hardest to make sure he didn't get to die.
Night Lords. Allegiance, heretic. Primarch, Conrad Kurz, a sadist, a vigilante, depresso espresso.
And then later, he joined Chaos.
Single word, fear. The Night Lords are my favorite legion, hailing from Nostromo.
His favorite legion? Well, I am now terrified of Bricky.
And their Primarch, Conrad Kurz. They are a traitor legion from a planet known as the Sunless World, or the World of Endless Night. Nostromo is a horrible hive city that is known for being host to some of the worst gang violence, murder, and working conditions around.
You basically look at Necromunda, the archetypical hive world of inequality, normal brutality, and absolute overpowering what the fuck is wrong with you? And then look at it again because it seems nicer and calmer and more peaceful by comparison.
Only thing keeping the population in check is the suicide rate. The Night Lords followed in the footsteps of their Primarch, a man who believed in a twisted sense of justice and that the only way to make humans compliant is through fear. The Legion's lesson has been lost on them as their ranks were repopulated.
Oh, that's interesting. One of the things that is really important with the Night Haunter is that his entire thing was foresight. Not just that it's fear, but that he specifically only foresaw fear working and would never question his foresight to think maybe there's another option, because he saw it working and he only saw it working. So it's the only option he ever chose because it's the only one he ever saw before it happened. Again, that's why I want him to be alive, because he only ever foresaw himself dying, which is why he let a normal human assassin kill him. Because if he survives, it fucks him over more than killing him would. Kind of surprised Bricky didn't bring it up. I mean, it's only halfway in, but that's kind of the entire defining thing of Conrad Kurz. Although we're more focusing on the Legion as opposed to the Primarch himself, so that maybe that's the reason why. It's more specific to that person rather than everyone else. Everyone else is just unrepentant monsters.
By gang members, murderers, arsonists, torturers, and other words I can't say on YouTube, as young as 12 years old. Murderers before they were even teenagers, raised to become demigods. Now, fear is what they sow, and flesh is what they reap. The Night Lords are scum.
And eat.
They are the exact opposite of all other legions. They torture and they maim and they flay because.
And then later they joined Chaos. Also not a joke. That's actually a thing.
because they think it's fun. They run away often so they can come back and kill you with more numbers. They prey on the innocent and the weak. They kill normal civilians because it's easy and flee any battle where they don't possess overwhelming odds. They are the antithesis of normal space marines.
Cowardly and
They
cruel.
are scum. One time, a world did not comply to their demands, so they raided one of their ships and brought it into atmosphere. The crowds cheered and clapped as it appears that they had won the battle, and the airlocks opened, and the skinned and flayed bodies of the crew were thrown down in the populace. In other words,
It's raining. Oh my God! Really? Oh. Oh, that's horrible. Well, it's not wrong and it fits. I know I didn't say it because it would get claimed, but oh, that's so much worse. Oh God. Oh no.
legion of gangers and criminals. Add together a heavy Slavic influence to them,
Really? Oh.
and you've got my favorite faction.
And that was the first half of every single Space Marine Legion. And frankly, I kind of wish he went more into his favorite faction, but I get it. He's not going to go into the specific psychology of Conrackers just because that is a video in its own right and way more detail than he's going to get into on a quick overview here. It makes sense. It's a Legion specific video, not a Primarch specific video. Now, if he happens to have these and I didn't see them, I know he did Adeptus Ridiculous. I have not seen what Adeptus Ridiculous does yet because for some reason, even though it's been recommended to me every time they drop a new video, I've never watched a single one of their videos. They're still recommended to me every time. So I'm assuming YouTube algorithm kind of figured out I'm probably the ideal person to watch their videos, and I haven't. That's on me. I don't know why I haven't either. Or why I never watched anything from Flash Kids prior to recently. That's also on me. More importantly, though, I like what he's doing here. I have very little to say about what he's doing, but just because he's doing such individualized looks, there's so much more lore that could be got into it. I just love seeing what little bits are important, what bits are in there, and I haven't really disagreed with him on anything. Although the entire not pointing out that the Space Wolves are literally also werewolves is understandable because I think that's only been clarified much more recently than when this video came out. I'm not sure when that was finally spelled out in the Horus Heresy, but I know it eventually was. But I need to figure out exactly which book did it because I'm very curious to figure that one out. But that's on me. I'll figure it out eventually. Or if anyone happens to know and they can tell me which book I could reference it correctly, thanks. If you don't, thanks all the time. Either way, you guys know the deal. There's a link below to the original video. Hit it up. Bricky did a really good job on this one. And when I finish this, I'm not sure if I want to check out his other videos about other games or maybe dump into his Adeptus Ridiculous stuff to see just what kind of crazy shenanigans he gets to there because I have no idea and I want to fix that. Let me know. And either way, I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.